It has been a while since we've done a whiteboard video. Much better. If you want to evolve, you need to let go. The philosopher Nietzsche says, the snake that cannot shed its skin must perish. How's that for an intense quote? I agree. If we can't shed and let go of these beliefs, patterns, stories about our old version, they're gonna keep us stuck in the past, and you can't create anything new from there, can you? So knowing that letting go is 2 words, letting go, how hard can it be? Well, after working with hundreds of people and speaking to thousands, man, are there some big roadblocks. We're gonna talk about the 3 biggest ones, in my opinion. Hopefully this video unlocks a few ahas for you. Why is this so empty? Let's go. Haha, the big one. This, my friends, is the vibrations chart. If you rank ordered every given emotion you could feel in the human spectrum, where would you put them? Well, you could literally just make a chart and it looks something probably similar to this. People say low vibe. What does that mean? Down here, vibrations, emotions, energies, things such as shame, guilt, jealousy, fear. Those are very low vibes. Do you want to live there? Not at all. Then what we do is we start moving into emotions that are higher than those. Courage, pride, neutrality, willingness is right up here. Before finally getting into what we consider high vibe states. Feeling good, feeling on fire. Acceptance, reason, aliveness, life force, zest, joy, peace, and love. That is the 20-second overview of what it means to raise your vibe. Still with me so far? And so when you hear the word or the term letting go, raising your vibrations, all that means is letting go of stories, people, self-talk that sucks you into this camp so you can experience more of these. Now the question is, okay, Clark, well, how do I tap into these? To which I would say you were already born in that state. And then the world sucks you down. You got parents, you got teachers, you got unsupportive partners that install all these negative programs in you and stories and beliefs and identities. And so now you get sucked down here, and if we never let go and decondition ourselves, I'm not saying you can never experience these, but it's gonna be a hell of a lot harder, don't you think? So letting go isn't as much as what can we add, it's about what can we remove, and when you remove it, what you're left with is your natural state, which is up here. Big idea number 1, you're not actually ready to let go. Personal story on this, back years ago, I was addicted to electronic cigarettes, e-cigs, vape. I couldn't get enough, just sucking those things down left and right. And every single time I was doing it, a part of me beat myself up. Clark, you know those things are bad for you. Clark, you know your higher self wouldn't do that for you. Clark, you know all these reasons why people are getting wet lung. And so I was beating myself up about it until one day I realized it's not that I couldn't quit, I just wasn't ready to. And that if I was gonna do this thing, I might as well not beat myself up about it. Now I'm getting double damage. The physical damage of putting poison in my body, but the double damage of poisoning myself with the thoughts and beliefs and sucking me down into guilt and shame. What's so ironic is literally after just accepting the habit, I realized that I didn't need it. And shortly after, I quit. Now, I don't know you obviously, but a common reason or thing people want to let go of that's sucking them down, causing them low vibes, are relationships. Clark, I just can't stop obsessing over someone. Or that one ex who, you know, we were meant to be together, it never worked out, and I can't stop this ruminating about her and the obsessive thoughts. The very first fundamental thing to realize and accept is if you're feeling so much resistance to letting go, maybe you're not ready to yet. So if you want to hold on to that person, allow yourself to. This is very counter advice. You might even want to fight it. People out there, well, Clark, what do you mean allow myself to be obsessed with this person? What do you mean allow myself to not get over my ex? Well, did you ever think that you judging yourself for not being able to get over your ex or not being able to let go of the story is perpetuating the shame and guilt, which is what you need to let go of in the first place? Because the more you're tapping into that story and resisting it instead of allowing it, the more you're stuck in shame and guilt, because psychologically you're like, dude, you can't even do this freaking letting go exercise. It's only 2 words. And it's okay if you're not ready, because here's what's gonna happen. Once you allow it and accept it, those emotions, those stories are gonna run their course. They're gonna get exhausting after a while. There's only so much and so long you can hold on to something before you're just like, dude, I'm finally ready to let this go. I'm sick of this. Enough. I can't waste another ounce of mental energy, another calorie, spending and spinning this track over and over again in my head. Once you reach that point, you know where you're at? Acceptance and reasoning, willingness neutrality. From that state, you're ready to finally release and move on. But this whole like on the fence, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. It's like me when I accepted the very fact, Clark, stop lying to yourself. Stop being on the fence, dude. You just don't want to give that thing up. It's like your little nicotine pacifier. I love it so much. Oh, I didn't want to give it up. Once I stopped judging myself for it, I realized, dude, this is stupid. And I quit. Mistake number 1 is realizing that maybe you're just not ready to let go. And maybe you should practice non-judgment and acceptance and like listening to yourself a little bit more there instead of being so hard on yourself. Because as soon as you say, I should let go and I can't, now that becomes a story that you need to let go of. And that's a whole bag of worms. You need to let go of what you're trying to let go of in the letting go process. Let's move on to big mistake number 2 with letting go. I was on TikTok the other day, just scrolling like I do for 3, 4, 5 hours, 6 hours a day. Man, I saw some of the worst advice that I've ever seen on there. And there's some great advice, but there's a lot of bad advice too. This was directed at men, and it said why therapy is a complete waste of time and how therapy is terrible. I never recommend men going to therapy because it doesn't actually solve the problem. And the only thing that does is action, baby. Just pump full of testosterone, action. And hey, I agree with that premise. I think action does solve a lot of problems and we should focus on it. That's not the part I disagree with. What I disagree with is that there's no benefit in modalities like therapy. I'm not talking just about therapy specifically. That has its own merits if you get the right person to work with, they're trained. What I'm talking about here is, have you ever had a conversation, maybe your mom, maybe your partner, maybe a close friend, about something that was going on in your life, a problem at work, a relationship problem, a business problem? Okay, you've had that conversation, and by the end of it, you walked away, like you went into it feeling totally upset, totally distraught about this problem or person or thing in your life. I can't stop thinking about this. And even though you didn't necessarily solve it, at the end, you walked away feeling different just by talking about it, didn't you? It charged you with a new mindset, a new perspective, or maybe even a sliver of hope that things can turn around. Now you might listen to that bit and say, well, Clark, that still doesn't solve the frickin' problem. Here's what does. There's an energetic shift when you release and you get new perspective and new hope. There's more energy to it. And with that new energy, you're able to look at things in a different light. Einstein says you can't solve a problem with the same level of thinking that created it. Full stop. Where am I going with this? That conversation was not trying to solve your emotional problems with just thinking. There was an emotional shift after you vented, after you shared, after you discussed for a long period of time. You solved your emotional problem with emotions, not with just thinking and logic. Second biggest mistake, people are trying to think their way into letting go. Trying to approach it from 100% reasonable, rational standpoint of, if I can just analyze this problem enough, if I can analyze this relationship enough, this person, then I can finally release it and it won't bother me anymore. Overthinking doesn't solve overthinking. We feel bad about feeling bad. You ever have that? Like, I'm not supposed to feel bad, and now I feel bad because I feel bad, and no matter what I invest in for help-wise, I just feel worse. What if you're not responsible for feeling bad? There's 2 kinds of emotions. The first are primary emotions. So these are your initial reactions to an event. It is normal for you to feel sad after a breakup. Clark, I'm really sad after this breakup. Good. You should be sad. That's a normal human emotion, an appropriate emotion to feel after that. It'd be more concerning if you had no emotion at all. I'm not sad at all. Marriage just fell apart. Great. Wife left me, took the kids. Awesome. It's actually healthy to go through that process and allowing yourself to feel the emotions. Because if you just try and blunt it, in the relationship case, out of a relationship, okay, don't feel anything, numb myself, get in another one as fast as possible. What's that gonna do? It's gonna suppress a lot of the feelings that you were supposed to let go of and feel through in the human experience. And you're gonna suppress and get in the habit of suppressing emotions deeper and deeper and deeper and down. But just like a trash compactor, it's just gonna push the shit deeper and deeper down, and you can't release it and take the tension off. We're gonna walk into that next relationship compressed down, and it might bubble over and explode onto them. Dude, get your trash out of here. They have a lot of baggage. You ever heard that? She's got so much baggage, dude. What's wrong with him? Who messed him up? So those are primary emotions. Your emotions to shitty situations that suck. Don't judge yourself there. Now here's the other kind of emotions you have. These are called secondary emotions. These are your feelings about your feelings. You feel sad about your ex, normal. But that turns into you judging yourself for feeling sad and being like, oh, I'm so unlovable. I'm never going to find love again. I'm just going to end up all alone. Not normal. Me in my mom's basement. It was normal for me to feel shit out of luck. Not normal for me to internalize that and say, well, I'm a loser because of this and nothing's ever going to turn around, so why bother? Primary emotions you're not necessarily responsible for, but secondary ones you are. And the whole point of letting go is not trying to let go of these primary emotions. Although those can dull down a little bit with practices like mindfulness or meditation or journaling or self-observations, right? You'll notice that chatter, that instant reaction, the primary emotion calls me out, I want to prove him wrong, screw that guy. It's actually going to die down as you start to practice some more mindfulness. But the secondary ones are what we're talking about when we're talking about letting go. So thinking that you can logically think your way out of letting go completely, that overthinking is going to solve overthinking, that's the biggest mistake. And also judging yourself for having the primary emotions. I feel bad about feeling bad. You're trying to let go of the secondary ones, not the primary ones. Those are normal, those are healthy, it's part of being a human. Welcome to the club. Ready for number 3? The third biggest mistake is actually within the word itself. Letting go. What kind of feelings does that conjure up when you hear that word? Well, if you're like some people I've spoken to, when we get to the root of it, they believe that letting go is quitting. It kind of has the same meaning. You're letting go, you're giving up, you're quitting. And what do we view quitters as in our society? Is quitting viewed from like a, hell yeah, dude, you quit perspective? Not normally. You'll hear things like winners never quit and quitters never win. Quitting is almost synonymous with losing and being a loser. I wouldn't hire that guy, he's a quitter. So this third one is a reframe that letting go is not quitting. I almost want to call it releasing instead of letting go. Letting go is a little catchier. It's got a bit more of a marketing zing to it, but releasing, that's all you're doing. This could go much deeper than just the day-to-day letting go. You know, I've spoken to people whose dream it is to have their own business, okay? And then they're trying direct response online marketing and nothing seems to work. They've been at it for 10 plus years, a decade, 2 decades even. Why can everyone else make money, but I can't? And they start to build up all this resentment, or they self-attack. Dude, well, I can't because I just don't have the skills. People don't want to listen to me. I'm not interesting. I can't talk on camera. I've tried podcasting. It didn't work. I've tried that. It didn't work. And if that's what you want to do, go for it by all means. I'm not trying to talk people out of their dreams. But in that case of the person who's been at something for 10, 20 years, sometimes quitting would actually be an okay thing because now they could get their life back and start using that same energy in their current life, or maybe move on to the next thing that they would crush and would be successful at. In fact, I even know someone who I saw. We were in some groups together. I'd see him, and he was afraid to quit on YouTube because of the sunk cost fallacy, which is like the more energy you put into something, the less you want to quit because you've already come this far. I might as well go all the way. We view that as losing and walking away, which makes quitting hard, understandably. So the guy was trying YouTube videos. I don't know how many videos he posted. It must have been over 100. Nothing was working. Nothing was hitting. He gave it a good effort. And so I gave him some feedback on it. And I said, dude, why don't you use these skills? You know, you can still use them. But what if you didn't do it for yourself? You did it for other people. And flash forward, last time I spoke to him, he took all his skills and he transitioned it into an agency where he was doing it for other people. And I don't know the amount of money he was making, but he was pretty successful at it. I think he was doing it full time. So see how letting go of that, this is how it has to be, I can't quit, I'm hell-bent on making this thing work. You don't have to quit and walk away completely. You can transition that into something else. So if you ever find yourself like needing to let go of these big, maybe life paths, or old identities, or old versions of you, or old pieces of you, but you feel that sunk cost coming in that's causing the resistance, making it difficult to actually let go and move on, what if you change the self-talk from letting go equals quitting to letting go equals shifting? Letting go equals releasing. That has a more empowering charge to it, doesn't it? Since we've talked a lot about relationships in these examples, I find that's one of the things that people, myself included in the past, have needed to let go of the most and where it's most applicable. Had this client who I was talking to in our program, and he came in because he couldn't get over an ex. She was in my head, man. I still think about her. So after learning a bit more of the details, he'd been talking to this person. He was head over heels in love, steamy romance. I'll spare you the details. But after about a couple months of this, she ghosts him just out of the blue. Up and leaves, no communication, no nothing. Dude was crushed. He thought they had a good thing going. And then he just gets ghosted like that. He was invested. He was all in. He told me his mind immediately went to self-attack. I'm unlovable. She left me for a reason. Maybe she's back with an ex. Maybe she cheated on me and couldn't have the guts to tell it to my face. Why wouldn't she do that? And your mind just goes absolute berserk in that situation. So after going through our program and, getting his mindset in the right place, he came to such a powerful conclusion that's amazing. That he could take that love that he felt for that person. It doesn't have to end there. Just because that person left, that she left, doesn't mean his love has to carry out with her. He can roll it to himself. He can take it into the next relationship. That very love he was giving is his all along. He still owns it. He's the source of it. It's still generated within. And as he goes deeper and deeper, he realizes that, would I even want someone who didn't want me? Would I even want someone who would communicate like this and just not communicate at all after we had a good thing going? And now you can flip it from this self-attack and get up to accepting and willingness after you go through the shame, guilt, jealousy, fear, all this pride. Who does she know who I am? She should have been lucky to date me. Acceptance, willingness, that's when you know you've moved up. But if you never allow yourself to go through this, right? You can never tap into that and you can never heal. The reason letting go is hard for people, and the 3 biggest blockers I see and I've seen, you're not actually ready to let go. So don't judge yourself. Allow yourself to sit in there. Sometimes it's the resisting that is causing the shame, the guilt, and everything here. Trying to think your way into letting go instead of trying to approach it from an emotional standpoint or a releasing standpoint. You're trying to fight fire with fire, overthink the overthinking, or you view letting go as quitting, and winners never quit, quitters never win. I can't walk away from it now. You're operating from sunk cost mindset, which is a dangerous way to go through life. Now you can start raising your vibe, baby. If you want our help with this, we have a 10-week program. I'll link it down below where you can talk to one of our coaches, see if it's a good fit or can change your life. And the question you're probably asking now is, okay, well, how do I actually start the letting go process? Now you're ready for the tactic. So I'll link up here our video just walking you through this, and it's a perfect follow-up to this one. I'll see you there.